This is about Siener van Rensburg and some of the prophecies that he had and the ones that are still to come. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, there lived a man in South Africa named Siener van Rensburg. Siener is not his real name, it means seer, or like a prophet who could see the future. Van Rensburg gave many prophecies, of which many have come true. Here is a list compiled by one author of his fulfilled prophecies taken from the book Voice of a Prophet. Number 1. Before anyone could imagine such a thing as an aircraft carrier, he had a vision of a strange ship in a Namibian harbour. At that stage, the harbour of Lidritz in Namibia was not even a proper harbour. It was a small bay where fishing dinghies used to beach. Number 2. He saw the British destruction of 64,000 Boer farmsteads and the detestable suffering they caused to nearly 180,000 cattle and horses by cutting their fetlock tendons, or their Achilles tendons. These animals were left to die from thirst. Number 3. He foresaw World War I and the deceit that led to the USA entering the war. Number 4. He foresaw the Russian Communist Revolution and the Holocaust of Christians during their reign. Estimates have it that the USSR communists killed as many as 50 million people between 1917 and 1945. Number 5. He foresaw the great influenza epidemic of 1918. Number 6. The mining riots in South Africa, 1925. Number 7. The economic collapse of 1929. Number 8. The Second World War. Number 9. He foresaw the 1948 takeover of government by the nationalists in South Africa. He foresaw the race troubles started by the communists in South Africa. Number 11. The creation of a republic in 1960. It might have been 1961, but anyway. Number 12. South Africa leaving the British Commonwealth. Number 13. The rise of black power in South Africa after 1961. Number 14. He foresaw the assassination of Dr. H.F. Verwoerd, the South Africa Prime Minister. Number 15. He saw South Africa's involvement in the Angola War against the Russian-backed Cubans. Number 16. Margaret Thatcher as first woman Prime Minister of England. Number 17. Nelson Mandela's imprisonment and release. Number 18. Death of Princess Diana. Number 19. The First Gulf War. Number 20. He foresaw the black takeover of government in South Africa. This happened 80 years after he had the vision. Number 21. He saw that moderate coloured and white people would rule in one province, the Western Cape province, for one term before losing to the ANC again. The ANC is now, as of 2011 when this is written, arranging for a massive influx of ANC supporters to the Western Cape province. I believe it's happening even now in 2018. A law has been prepared for Parliament that will put coloured and white people out of jobs in order that black ANC supporters from other provinces can get the jobs. By doing this, the ANC will have imported the 100,000 required voters to win back the Western Cape. Number 22. The September 11 attack on the World Trade Center. Number 23. He foresaw the Iraqi war against Saddam Hussein. This, however, infuriates the Islamic world, and the sinister planning against the USA takes place. The planning seems to take place within the USA by the same sinister entity that caused previous 2 world wars. Number 24. The murder of the South Africa mining magnate Brett Kebble. Number 25. He saw millions of Africans coming to South Africa illegally during black government. Number 26. He saw a massive dip similar to 1929 in the world economy. What is difficult to pinpoint is the fact that he appears to indicate that the collapse is caused and planned by the capitalists, in inverted commas, in order to take control of the world economic system. Remember that he saw this nearly 100 years ago in 1914. All of these have already occurred or are in the process of happening. That looks like a pretty impressive list. Notice above that he foresaw the imprisonment and release of Nelson Mandela. There is more to the Mandela prophecy. On the morning of 8th September 1925, the seer told his daughter Anna he sees a black man being released from prison in the distant future, visit Russia, and on his return be appointed in an important post. The country will be thrown into chaos under his rule. However, it is only after the violent death of a black leader and a massive strike cripples the country that real trouble starts. The black leader will lie in state on Church Square in Pretoria while people flock there in their thousands to pay their last respects. The body of the king, that's the black leader, is placed in a glass coffin and he lies in state on Church Square, Pretoria for 7 days. Mourners come from all over the world to pay homage to this king of the so-called Rainbow Nation. Nobody worked for 7 days, for people moved past the coffin day and night, fell on it and wept bitterly, and could not be consoled for 7 days. On the 8th day he was buried in the Heroes' Acre, which is a special part of the old cemetery in Church Street, Pretoria, reserved for statesmen. Okay, so that's a lot of the past ones. Number 27. He saw many of his countrymen and fellow Afrikaners being exiled to countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and some islands in the Far East. Whites are leaving the country in droves as they are virtually totally barred from holding a permanent job. A small business person who is white is forced by law to give 50% of his or her business to a black partner. That's the law. Number 28. He foresaw England will have a greater black than white population. Number 29. A cataclysmic event will cause many Africans and Indians to flee to Britain. Number 30. He saw many islands along the Indonesian, Malaysian area and Asian Pacific Rim sinking into the sea. Number 31. He saw the southern part of Australia inundated with water, possibly the sea. And that's where I live. 32. Parts of Japan will sink below sea level. 33. He saw turmoil and protracted skirmishes leading to World War III. Number 34. A civil uprising in the USA. This could be the civil rights movement of Martin Luther King or the LA riots, but it appears to be still coming as there will be many deaths. Number 35. The USA, Spain, Germany, Japan and England with some Commonwealth countries will be the main allies in World War III. Most of Western Europe will be overrun and devastated by people from the Middle East. This will be so quick that proper defensive action will not be ready in time. And that's happening at the moment with all the people from Syria and other parts. Number 36. A high British official will commit treason against the Allies to try and save his country from nuclear destruction. Number 37. After near total destruction of the West eventually manages to regain the upper hand. I'm almost finished, okay? Number 38. Large areas of the USA are totally destroyed and Europe is virtually uninhabitable. Thousands of European refugees come by sea to South Africa. The refugees are transported inland by train from Cape Town, and 10 villages appear over a distance of 400 miles along the railway line as far as the town of De Aar. Number 39. Civilised and competent government will be reinstated in South Africa after World War III. In regards to number 34, the USA uprising, another prophecy researcher read the entire book about the prophecies of Van Rensburg and had this to say in regards to World War III and his prophecies. Siener van Rensburg's vision doesn't tell us what this is about. However, the Romanian prophet Dimitri Duduman's visions and prophecies tell us very clearly from Dimitri's book, Through the Fire Without Burning. When the Americans will think that it is peace and safety from the middle of the country, some of the people will fight the government started by the communists. That could be the Antifa that we see these days. The government will be busy with internal problems. Then from the ocean, Russia will bomb the nuclear weapon storehouses in one day and America will burn. The sequence of events is an economic collapse worldwide. Massive waves of illegal immigration. These cause civil wars to break out in many countries. Then World War III begins. We are not given the year, but need to watch the signs God has given us through the prophets in order to know the season and times. And I'm going to put a link to the article and the rest of the story on this YouTube video. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.